Uniformed officers, please stand, come to attention, and cover. Face the flag.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we launched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, said us that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Order.
Please be seated. Good evening. My name is Brandon Kutz. I'm the commander of the 4th District, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the City of Cleveland Division of Police Awards ceremony. First off, I'd like to acknowledge Officer Pete Williams for a very fine job performing the national anthem. Thank you. I'd like to call upon Cleveland Division of Police Chaplain David Gully to offer our invocation.
Maybe all stand and bow our heads, please. Lord, you are the creator of all that is. We come into your presence this day with thankful hearts. We give thanks to you for the bounty of your blessings and for the sharing between peoples, for the love of families, friends, comrades, and sisters. Oh God, we ask your strength and guidance throughout this day, that we might do our best to serve you and represent our prospective post. Grant your blessings upon the city of Cleveland and each participant and the work they represent. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. This time, I'd like to recognize the city officials and other special guests who have joined us for today's ceremony. We have the Honorable Mayor Frank G. Jackson, Public Safety Director Michael McGrath, Chief of Police Calvin Williams and his command staff. We have Safety Chair Councilman Matt Zone. We also have Councilman Martin Keene and Councilman Joe Jones. Also with us tonight, Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Michael O'Malley, Chief Assistant City Prosecutor Carrie Howard, Cuyahoga County Sheriff Clifford Pinckney. From the U.S. Attorney's Office, we have U.S. Attorney Justin Herdman, First Assistant U.S. Attorney Bridget Brennan, Law Enforcement Manager Craig Tame. From the Federal Reserve Bank, we have Chief of Police Mark Buck, Captain Enrique Mendizabal, Lieutenant Kiana Bedard. From the Federal Bureau of Investigation, we have Assistant Special Agent in Charge Alvin Winston. From the DEA, Resident Agent in Charge James Goodwin. From the Parma Police Department, we have Lieutenant Tony Habercorn and Supervisor Parma Corrections Lori Harry. From the Cleveland Police Patrolmen's Association, we have the President, Detective Jeff Fulmer. And from the Black Shield Patrolmen's Association, we have President Sergeant Vince Montague. Thank you all for coming tonight, and if I missed anybody, my apologies. Please welcome now to the podium the Honorable Mayor Frank G. Jackson.
Good evening, and I want to welcome everyone to the 2018 Police Awards ceremony. I want to thank all of those who will be recognized, both police officers and civilians, and really thank police officers for their continued willingness to serve. One of the things I've always paid attention to at these events is the scenarios that are being read as the awards are given. And there are scenarios that the general public may not know. And it shows the discretion and honor and the merit of police officers who face danger and who are put in situations where they have to make instantaneous decisions that other people would not be able to make the right decision, but these officers did. So I want to, again, congratulate them and thank them for their willingness to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Jackson. Now please welcome Safety Director Michael McGrath, who would like to say a few words.
Commander, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
You know, this is a great time to start a holiday season under these circumstances. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the family and friends of the award recipients this evening. You should be very proud, and I'll say it twice, very proud of your loved ones' accomplishments. And we would also like to acknowledge the services that they provide each and every day within our communities. I'd like to acknowledge Chief Williams and his staff for coordinating this evening's event, Council President Kevin Kelly and Council members for hosting, and Mayor Jackson for his continued support throughout the years. I can't stress how important it is to conduct these award ceremonies each year after year. To the award recipients, we are here this evening to join with your coworkers, your friends, family members, to tell you how proud we are of the service that you provide each and every day to our community, in good times and especially in these times of challenge. Please know that your work is appreciated, and you should be commended for your continued commitment to your chosen profession in the city of Cleveland. That is why it is only fitting that we take the time this evening to recognize your heroic efforts and say thank you for a job well done. While we share these defining moments and these career milestones this evening with your families, I know you share similar moments with your fellow officers in the division every day. The Department of Public Safety respects the difficult work that you do. We pray for your continued safety. We value your dedication and professionalism and applaud your accomplishments. This evening also provides an opportunity to reflect on life's priorities and the difference you make in the lives of each person in our community that you touch. And on behalf of the lives for whom you have made a difference, I salute and thank you. At this time, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge those community partners that are receiving awards this evening. You got involved not because it was your responsibility, but because it was your community. I would like to recognize you, your families, and say thank you for your partnership and commitment. And in closing, on behalf of the Department of Public Safety, once again to the award recipients, thank you, congratulations, have a great holiday season, and please stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. At this time, I'd like to introduce Chief of Police Calvin D. Williams to say a few words.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Everybody's looking like this is a bad occasion. This is a great occasion. A lot of people are going to be recognized tonight for their accomplishments, for the hard work that they do day in and day out for our city, for this division, our citizens, for the assistance that they give us. And it's a good time. It's a good time for family and friends to recognize and see exactly what our men and women go through day in and day out. You know, before the ceremony started, I had a conversation with Sergeant Chisholm, who's up here, Pat, who does a great job in assisting in putting these ceremonies together. And she kind of reminded me that, this time of year, the crowd is kind of sparse. A lot of people are doing a lot of things, shopping, visiting, kids home from school, things like that. And she asked me, should we change this to a different time of year? And I told her, we can talk about it. We'll think about it. We'll look at the logistics of it. And, we do twice a year. We do June and we do December. And I kind of thought about it while I was sitting here and listening to the mayor and the director. And, it's never a bad time to recognize what we do, ever. Whether it's, the middle of February and it's snowing and blowing, or it's the middle of July and it's, 98 degrees. So we're probably going to keep it June and December of every year because I think you guys deserve to get that during the holiday season. Just another quick note. This year we're going to recognize a unit within our division that is responsible for taking care of us. And I don't think we've done that in a while. And we've been through a lot of stuff this year, a lot of stuff. And our employee assistance unit has been there every step of the way. And those guys do a great job whenever we call. Even if we don't call, they hear about stuff and they show up. And they're there to assist us, meaning our Division of Police members and their families, through any and everything. So I thought it was appropriate this time of year that we recognize our employee assistance people. But I want to congratulate you guys. You do a great job for us day in and day out. And our citizens, we can't do it without you. And I want to wish everybody happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Williams. Councilman Zone, I'd like to ask you to come up to the podium if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, Commander Cutts. I have the high honor and privilege of serving on Cleveland City Council, serve as the Council's chair for the Safety Committee. I want to recognize my colleague, Councilman Marty Kane, who's a strong supporter of public safety. But this is, Chief, I think an appropriate time of the year to do it, right? You think between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we have so much to be thankful for, and I'm filled with gratitude looking out at each and every one of you, because I go home at night and I sleep safely because I know you're out there, you're protecting us, and you do it so unselfishly. So thank you for all of that. The importance of award ceremonies are important. Too often, this profession doesn't get the recognition that it deserves, and only when it's something sensational does it lead. And so we should be doing this more. Maybe we should have this ceremony out on public square, and so others can acknowledge the outstanding heroism that you do every day. So on behalf of Cleveland City Council, I'm thankful for each and every one of you. To the family members, thank you for allowing them to do what they do. I know they need a lot of support from each and every one of you. I have many family members who serve in law enforcement, and so thank you to the family members for supporting these good men and women for what they do. And during this grateful season, I'm thankful for each and every one of you. Thank you, Commander.
Thank you, Councilman Zone. I'd like to now invite our invited guests to form at the front of the room a receiving line, please. And while they form up, I'm going to read off the awards that we will be presenting tonight. The Medal of Heroism is awarded to police officers who demonstrate extraordinary bravery or act in an exemplary and extraordinary manner while at substantial risk of personal harm. The Distinguished Service Medal is awarded to those police officers who demonstrate a high degree of personal initiative, perform substantially above normal requirements in an exemplary manner, contribute significantly to the achievement of law enforcement goals, or consistently perform at the highest levels of law enforcement excellence as indicated by special faithfulness to duty. The Special Commendation Award is awarded to divisional personnel who distinguish themselves by improving an administrative or tactical procedure within the Division of Police. fostering a successful community affairs program, or performing a valuable police service which demonstrates special diligence or perseverance. The Chief's Outstanding Unit Award is presented in recognition of outstanding police service performed by a unit of the Division of Police. And finally, the Citizen Award plaque is awarded to citizens who distinguish themselves through the performance of a heroic act involving great personal risk. When I call you up tonight, if you can form up over here, accept your award, and work down the line. And if you can try to form up in the order in which I call you, Sergeant Chisholm would greatly appreciate that, the best that you can. All right, will Officers Charles Bartlebaugh and Michael Mitchell please come forward? Officer Bartlebaugh will be receiving the Distinguished Service Medal. Officer Mitchell will be receiving the Special Commendation Award. On October 10, 2017, 2nd District officers were dispatched to a suicidal male on the Lorraine-Carnegie Bridge. Upon their arrival, officers observed a male on the outside railing holding onto a light pole. The male was leaning with most of his body hanging over the edge, holding on by his fingertips, with only the balls of his feet making contact with the ledge. With the assistance of fire rescue, Officer Bartlebaugh moved into a position between the concrete railing and the light pole the male was clinging to, while Officer Mitchell maintained a support position and attempted to establish a rapport with the male. As fire rescue attempted to place a safety harness around the male, he began struggling to get away. Officer Bartlebaugh managed to grab the male and place one handcuff on his wrist. Realizing he was now secured, the male relaxed and allowed Officer Bartlebaugh and Officer Mitchell and others to pull him to safety. Officers, it is our privilege to honor you with these awards. Will Miss Mildred Allen please come forward? Miss Allen will be receiving the Citizen Plaque Award. On June 21st, 2017, Miss Allen was witness to a strong arm robbery in progress. Miss Allen had the presence of mind to capture both still shots and video footage of the robber, using the camera on her cellular phone. 4th District detectives were not only able to use Miss Allen's photographs and video to identify and capture the robber, but they also linked the suspect to multiple robberies which had occurred in the area. Because of Miss Allen's valiant and selfless actions, the detectives were successful in solving the robberies, prosecuting a dangerous armed criminal, and removing him from the Shaker Square community. Miss Allen, it will be our privilege to give you this award at a future date. Will Officers Robert Cruz, Richard Benson, Daniel Florence, Victoria Hahn, Thomas McGinty, and Thomas Smith please come forward? Officer Cruz will be receiving the Distinguished Service Medal. Officers Benson, Florence, Hahn, McGinty, and Smith will be receiving the Special Commendation Award. On September 19, 2017, 4th District officers responded to a radio broadcast for a male robbed and carjacked at gunpoint. The description of the suspect and stolen vehicle was quickly broadcast over police radio citywide. A short time later, the stolen vehicle being driven by the suspect was spotted by Officers Benson and Florence. The suspect quickly abandoned the vehicle and fled on foot. Officer Cruz exited his patrol car and pursued the suspect on foot, while Officers Benson, Florence, Hahn, McGinty, and Smith established a perimeter and closed in on the suspect. The suspect was eventually apprehended and arrested. Officers learned through surveillance video that the suspect had pulled the handgun from his waistband and threw it into a yard. The handgun was soon recovered. These officers' excellent teamwork, bravery, and dedication took a dangerous criminal and firearm off the street. Officers, it is our privilege to honor you with these awards tonight. Will Detective Joseph D'Argenti please come forward? Detective D'Argenti will be receiving the Special Commendation Award. On July 19, 2017, Detective D'Argenti was assigned to the Cleveland Division of Police Financial Crimes Unit when he received a case involving a burglary, theft, and forgery at a local attorney's office. As he investigated the case, he uncovered an elaborate burglary ring comprised of multiple offenders, with a list of victims which included Kent State University, the Cuyahoga County Land Bank, as well as several attorneys' offices and insurance companies. Detective D'Argenti discovered the victims' losses to be well over $70,000. As a result of his investigation, a Cuyahoga County grand jury handed down a 95-count indictment against the alleged mastermind of the scheme and his 36 accomplices. It is projected that upwards of 70 additional individuals will be charged for various degrees of involvement in the crime spree. Detective D'Argenti's diligent detective work and dedication led to the discovery and dismantling of a major crime ring. Detective, it is our privilege to honor you with this award. Will Miss Angela Hardaway please come forward? Ms. Hardaway will be receiving the Citizen Award plaque. On Tuesday, January 23, 2018, Ms. Hardaway was shopping at a store in her neighborhood when a male armed with a revolver rushed in and proceeded to rob the store. While the armed suspect was demanding the clerk give him money from the cash register, Ms. Hardaway pulled out her cellular phone and began filming the incident. Ms. Hardaway chose to put herself at risk if discovered by the armed offender and continued filming, capturing video which would eventually assist law enforcement with identifying and arresting the offender. Ms. Hardaway, it is our privilege to eventually honor you with this award. Will Officer Erwin Eberhardt, Traffic Controller Robert Murphy, Ms. Renee Williams, and Mr. Evan Wright please come forward? Officer Eberhardt and Traffic Controller Murphy will be receiving the Special Commendation Award. Ms. Williams and Mr. Wright will be receiving the Citizen Plaque Award. On February 13, 2018, an elderly male suffered a medical emergency and collapsed on the arrival levels of Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. Officer Eberhardt was alerted to the incident through police radio and arrived to find the male lying prone on the floor and unresponsive. Officer Eberhardt quickly determined CPR was needed and began administering aid. Traffic Controller Murphy, Ms. Williams, and Mr. Wright, having been alerted to the incident, responded and observed Officer Eberhardt administering CPR to the unresponsive male. They each stepped in and assisted by alternating administering CPR with Officer Eberhardt, Ms. Williams, and Mr. Wright selflessly came forward and assisted in turn with Officer Eberhardt and Traffic Controller Murphy. These individuals acted quickly and selflessly to assist a citizen in need. Officers, Ms. Williams, and Mr. Wright, it's our privilege to honor you with these awards. Will Officer Matthias Varga please come forward? Officer Varga will be receiving the Medal of Heroism Award. On May 20th, 2017, Officer Varga was working secondary employment as security when he was advised by a witness that a traffic accident had just occurred outside of their location. Officer Varga immediately responded to the area to investigate and provide assistance. When he arrived, he observed a two-car motor vehicle accident with one of the cars on fire. He saw that the driver was still inside and the fire was spreading to the driver's seat of the vehicle. Officer Varga was unable to open the driver's side door and the driver was unresponsive. Determined to gain access and save the victim, Officer Varga went to the passenger side of the car and noticed that the rear window was partially open. Although it was extremely hot, Officer Varga grasped the window, pulled it open, reached inside, and unlocked the front door and gained entrance. As Officer Varga reached over to pull the victim out of the car, he noticed that her hair and back were on fire. Undeterred, he patted the flames out with his bare hands and freed the victim from the burning vehicle. Within seconds of getting the victim out to safety, the vehicle exploded and became completely engulfed in flames. Were it not for Officer Varga's intervention, the victim might have perished in the burning vehicle. Officer, it is our privilege to honor you with this award. Will Mr. John Kyler, Mr. Christopher Ferguson, Mr. David Lax, and Mr. Qualvon Taylor please come forward? Mr. Kyler, Mr. Ferguson, Mr. Lax, and Mr. Taylor will be receiving the Citizen Plaque Award. On February 17, 2018, a flight bound for Boston left the gate at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. As the plane began taxiing to the runway, a male passenger began exhibiting odd behavior, becoming belligerent and verbally abusive to the airline attendants. The pilot was forced to take the plane back to the gate and notify police. A lone Cleveland police officer arrived and attempted to calm the male, who responded by attacking the officer. Mr. Kyler, Mr. Ferguson, Mr. Lax, and Mr. Taylor assisted the officer, helping control the male until other officers arrived. Their selfless assistance to an officer in need helped to avert a more serious crisis and successfully prevented anyone from being seriously injured. It will be our privilege to honor all these citizens with these awards in the near future. Will officers Timothy Kramer, Adam Himes, Shane McNay, Brandon Melbar, Colbert Stadden, and James Thomas please come forward. Officers Kramer, Himes, McNay, Melbar, Stadden, and Thomas will be receiving the Medal of Heroism. On April 21, 2018, officers Himes and McNay were on routine patrol when they began smelling smoke. Searching for the source of the smell, they soon discovered a motor vehicle accident. 2 vehicles had collided, struck 2 homes, and caught fire. Both officers approached the scene and discovered that the vehicles were still occupied and the flames were intensifying. They notified radio and began pulling multiple victims from the burning vehicles. Officers Kramer, Melbar, Stadden, and Thomas responded and quickly began assisting. Officers Kramer and Stadden broke a window on one of the burning vehicles to remove the trapped occupants. Officer Thomas used a utility knife to free an unconscious victim. Officer Melbar, in addition to assisting in freeing the occupants, retrieved a garden hose in an attempt to contain the flames. These officers all displayed great fearlessness and saved multiple citizens from serious injury or death. Officers, it is our privilege to honor you with these awards. Will Ms. Holly Gardner and Mr. Shane Slater please come forward? Ms. Gardner and Mr. Slater will be receiving the Citizen Plaque Award. On March 18, 2018, a Cleveland Division of Police officer was driving on a local highway when a vehicle pulled in front of him and abruptly slowed down. The driver of the vehicle suddenly jumped out of the still-moving vehicle and began walking toward the officer's police car. The officer exited his vehicle and attempted to escort the male off the highway. However, the male appeared to be experiencing a mental health crisis and was not responding. Off-duty Parma Corrections Officer Gardner, who was traveling in her personal vehicle, and off-duty Lindale Police Officer Slater, also traveling in his personal vehicle, saw the officer struggling to get the male off the highway and stopped to assist him. With their help, the male was safely secured in the back seat of the officer's police vehicle without further incident. It was later discovered that the male had a history of violent mental health episodes, one in which a male was stabbed and another in which a female was held hostage with a weapon. The officers placed themselves in harm's way without hesitation to assist the fellow law enforcement officer. Ms. Gardner and Mr. Slater, it is our privilege to honor you with these awards. Will officers Joseph Lanigan, Daniel McCandless, and Daniel O'Malley please come forward. Officers Lanigan, McCandless, and O'Malley will be receiving special commendation awards. On February 7, 2018, Officer McCandless was on routine patrol when he received information that a citizen had called about a suspicious vehicle parked in their driveway. Officer McCandless took the assignment and proceeded to the address in question. Officers Lanigan and O'Malley offered their assistance and also responded. Upon their arrival, they were able to make contact with the caller, who stated that the driver ran into the basement of her home and was still inside. The officers entered the basement and found the male hiding in a shower. A search of the shower uncovered a wallet and credit cards. A check through police radio revealed that the owner of the property had just reported being robbed at an address across the street. The officers responded and conferred with the two elderly victims. The husband stated that he had just exited his home when he observed the suspect grab his wife's purse, shove her to the ground, and began hitting her about her head and body with her walking cane. When he went to the aid of his wife, the suspect began beating him with the cane before running off. These officers' efforts were critical to a dangerous criminal being arrested. Officers, it is our privilege to honor you with these awards. Will Special Agent Brett Bangus please come forward? Mr. Bangus will be receiving the Citizen Award plaque. Patrol Officer David Fahey was tragically struck by a hit-and-run driver in the early morning hours of January 24, 2017, while setting out road flares and diverting traffic around a previous accident. In the minutes after Officer Fahey was struck, investigators rushed to find the suspect vehicle, which was described by a witness as a white Toyota Camry with possible beige or gold bumpers. The witness observed a partial license plates with the letter GTD and indicated the vehicle had fled westbound after striking the officer. Off-duty Special Agent Brett Bangus of the Department of Homeland Security heard the description of the suspect vehicle over police radio and took the initiative to patrol the area. Special Agent Bangus drove up and down streets checking driveways and alleys for the vehicle. Special Agent Bangus spotted a Camry that matched the description with a license plate beginning with GTD parked in a driveway. Approaching alone in the early morning darkness, Special Agent Bangus observed the vehicle to be unoccupied with damage to the front bumper and windshield. Believing he had located the suspect vehicle, he immediately broadcast this information over his police radio. SWAT officers, patrol officers, and detectives from Lorain and Cleveland responded to his location and arrested the suspect. Because of Special Agent Bangus's quick actions and attention to detail, the suspect was arrested, charged, and later pled guilty to charges in connection with Officer Fahey's death. Special Agent Bangus, it is our privilege to honor you with this award. Will Sergeant Melissa Dawson and Detectives William Adams, Shelley Bracken, Gerald Bronson, Christopher Gibbons, and Christopher Porter please come forward? These officers will be receiving the Outstanding Unit Award. The Cleveland Division of Police Employees Assistance Unit, EAU, has traditionally served those in the demanding, challenging, and often dangerous profession of law enforcement. Using a holistic approach combining peer counseling and resource referrals, the members of the EAU support the men and women of the division while maintaining the strictest confidentiality. Under the command of Sergeant Melissa Dawson, the Employees Assistance Unit has secured grant funding to implement innovative wellness programs, including yoga and meditation classes, successfully developed and administered member job satisfaction surveys, provided support for division military veterans, revived an American Legion post, and launched a recruitment drive to replenish its membership and assisted in providing support for the community. They maintained the integrity and proper functioning of the division frontline software processes and databases, ensured accurate record-keeping practices for the early intervention program, acted as liaisons to families of our fallen officers, worked closely with division members who have been involved in traumatic incidents, and developed a county-wide peer support program and partnered with multiple outside agencies to secure training. EAU's support is essential to ensuring our members are high-functioning contributors to the protection of the citizens of Cleveland. Members of the EAU not only fulfill their specifically assigned responsibilities, but also go above and beyond in assisting our members in need, including working late-night hours, call-ups, hospital and home visits, assistance with transportation, lawn care, and on occasion, even some home maintenance. Members of the Cleveland Division of Police Employees Assistance Unit, it is our privilege to honor you with these awards. The receiving line, when you're done, you can have a seat, please. Now I'd like to ask that all of tonight's award recipients please stand. A hand salute is a sign of honor and respect. At this time, I will lead us in demonstrating our respect for all of these gallant officers and brave citizens. Command staff, please stand, face the recipients, and cover. Present arms. Order arms. Congratulations, all of you. Now I'd like to ask Cleveland Police Chaplain David Gully to lead us in our closing prayer.
May we all stand, please? O God of people and nations, we pause at the close of this meeting to acknowledge again your sovereignty over our lives and our country. We remember before you your comrades now departed this life. We honor them for the loyalty to God and country you have begun in them and brought us to perfection, that our nation may be strong and our people secure and happy. Give us safe journey to our homes. Amen.
Please have a seat. Thank you, Chaplain. One final thought before we go. For every scenario that's been recounted to you this evening, there are countless others that were just as heroic and just as selfless that weren't recognized, many of them which were carried out by the same men and women that are in this room tonight. The men and women you see before you are but a fraction of the dedicated and professional members of this area's law enforcement community that serve faithfully every day to make our great city the better place to live, to work, and to visit. I'm truly humbled to be in the presence of so many fine men and women. Ladies and gentlemen, you are all invited to enjoy some light refreshments out in the hallway after the award ceremony. For those of you that parked in Willard Garage, please be sure to obtain a parking pass before leaving. On behalf of Director McGrath and through the generosity of Director Michael Cox and the Department of Public Works, we're offering a reduced parking rate, $3, and you have to get the passes up front, right here, before you leave. I'd like to thank you all once again for taking the time to join us tonight to honor these many worthy award recipients. And this concludes the award ceremony tonight. Thank you very much.